I wish I would have known this when I recommended sardines to the first few patients. The biggest mistake they made was they went out, bought a cheap can of sardines, and the smell alone put them off, and they never tried again. Don't do that. Go to the grocery store, get a can of King Oscar in extra virgin olive oil. It's a little more pricey, but the taste is much better. And when you're first starting out, this matters. Step 2, how to eat them. You don't need crackers or a big recipe. Add a little mustard or hot sauce if you want, but just don't be intimidated. These fish are tiny little fish, and when you open them, you can see they're just not that bad. It's fish. When I'm at the office, I skip the silverware and just eat them right out of the can. I put them on a tongue blade, and I love them. You will not be hungry when you're done with this. In my first several dozen cans, I did add a little hot sauce, and I love pepper on mine, but I've gotten to the point where I don't even do that anymore. The pepper does help. It really does soften the palate, but it's fish. It's not that exciting, and they are much worse smelling than they are tasting. The taste is like tuna without the tang. While I'm eating, let's move on to the benefits. Take this infographic from my friend Judy Cho, and you can't miss how beautiful and filled with nutrients these little fish are. When I use an elimination diet for people with severe metabolic issues, there is nothing better than the sole item on the menu being sardines. It's not uncommon to worry about an allergy to fish. And before I let folks off the hook that they actually have a sardine allergy, I challenge them to switch to mackerel. If they don't have the reaction when they're eating mackerel, it's probably not the fish they're allergic to. It's probably what the fish are in that can. When they have a real allergy to sardines, they complain of this deep stomach pain after eating them. Sometimes they throw up. Sometimes they get massive diarrhea. When I want the patient to test whether or not they're really allergic to that, I start with using a can of sardines and mash it up. I then use a little abrasion on the inside of their wrist, just enough to make the surface a little rough. Take the fish and place it on their wrist, and then put saran wrap, plastic wrap, around that for at least an hour or two. When they take that off, they'll have a red rash where the fish was touching that skin. That's one sign they're probably allergic to that fish. When they're allergic, we're looking for another option, something they aren't going to overeat, something that's high in fat, high in protein. And I've landed on pork belly. It is a good ratio of fat to protein. It is easy to overeat that, so they have to work at not doing that. Sardines are way better. And then people say, but what about the toxins? Mercury, arsenic, lead. And these toxins are all over the internet as warnings, but are they really true? Well, Jane ate sardines for 100 days. Check out what happened to her toxins. I'll see you there.